All right. I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Hashem Yahushai, Bahashem, Rucha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is Give unto the Lord His Just Due. And pretty much this is inspired by, I was kind of reading through that book again that I was going through the other day. I did a lesson on, and pretty much it had, gave me a few precepts, and one precept was in the book of Haggai. And I pretty much, read a little bit of it, and that the part that I was reading was dealing with, in the first chapter when the temple was desecrated, and pretty much, there was a rebuilding. There was a rebuilding going on. Crazy ass Edomite. There was a rebuilding going on, and you had Jake back then, that were doing. Obviously, they were doing okay, because the spirit was on the prophet Haggai to curse them out. So I, pretty much, even though that was speaking about back then, we could kind of use it for now also, dealing with these well-to-do Jakes that pretty much made it in this society, are living, well off, and they're not thinking about the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. They're thinking about, pretty much themselves, and they're not giving the Lord His just due. Matter of fact, let me read this precept and then we can get into it. This is Haggai chapter 1, verse 4. Is it time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lie waste? Yeah. So here it is. You got this, nice home. You live in this nice life. You pretty much don't got much of a care in the world. Even though, for the most part, the majority of Jake ain't doing well, but you do have those, individuals that are still doing pretty well. The so-called wealthy among Jake that's doing okay, and they're not thinking about the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, His plight, and the things that the Lord for lack of better words, that the Lord's temple is still not fully built. When this was written, this was during the time, when Cyrus, was, battling or fighting against the Babylonians back then, which were Assyrians, and there were wars going on back then, but eventually the Babylonian Empire was taken down, by way of for lack of better words, a surgical strike. There wasn't no major war that happened that burnt down the walls of Babylon and all that. It was just a surgical strike. But you did have wars going on back and forth, with the Persians, the Medes, so on and so forth. And when Jake kind of settled, the dust kind of settled, you had parts in Jerusalem that were totally devastated. The temple being one of them. The walls were broken down from the siege and destruction of, Jerusalem by the Babylonians. And pretty much, you have, certain Israelites that were doing well. Nehemiah himself, he was like he was like a top official in the Persian army. So you had those well-to-do Israelites back then, but when he found out the state of Jerusalem, he was, his spirit was down. And like the scriptures say, that he was never sad in the sight of the Persian king. And the Persian king said to him, why is your countenance sad? You're neither sick, nor anything else going on with you. This is nothing but sorrow of the heart. And he broke it down to him how Jerusalem was destroyed and devastated, and lied waste, and the whole. He was running down to the king the whole condition that his people in the city of Jerusalem were in. And the king gave him, letters and gold and everything to go back and build it up. But you still had those well-to-do Jakes that were living it up. That's why it says it's time for you to, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lie waste. And that's, applies today also, for these well-to-do Jakes. So pretty much the whole reason why I wanted to go into this was because, we still have to give the Lord his just due, because he's not exalted, fully exalted in the truth, or in the world, should I say. He's not fully exalted in the world yet. And that's what our job is. And this is why it's so important to push the names of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, because, this is an introduction to the kingdom of heaven and who the power of heaven is, who the God of the heavens is, because for many years he's been called many different things, but he only has one proper name. You have the Hindus that call him whatever they call him. You have the Buddhists that call him whatever they call him, Buddha. You have the Ishmaelites that call him Allah. You have, the so-called Christians that call him Jesus. But what is his name? Well, you have God, Jehovah. You have all these different names and titles that the Lord is being called by, but he only has one proper name. And that proper name is Yahweh. His son's proper name is Yahushai. And that's pretty much, what the Lord gave us to do. The mission was to bring out the truth, and to exalt those names, for the introduction of the kingdom of heaven. But meanwhile, you have certain Jakes out here that don't take heed to that. And even among those that know that they're Israelites, you have those that are not actually, giving reverence to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, that are pretty much doing their own thing, So it says, now therefore, thus saith the Lord of hosts, consider your ways. You have sown much and bring in little. You eat, but you have not enough. You drink, but you are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. And that means you work, you save money, but there's always something that comes up to where you gotta use that money. You have to tap into those savings, to be able to fix whatever situation or problem you're going through. Whether it's some work on your vehicle, your apartment, whether something happened to where, you have to use emergency funds for whatever the case may be. So pretty much we were never meant to be comfortable here in this society. It was always set up for us here to suffer, as I just call it, the curses. And those that are doing well, even among the ones that have woken up to know that they're Israelites, you're supposed to be reverencing Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai first, and not always thinking about yourself. Because as long as, we're here in Babylon the Great, there's still work to be done. There's no time to just sit back, relax and chill like that. You'll have your moments, of course, but I'm talking about the relaxing and chilling part is not going to really come unto the kingdom of heaven. Let's go real quick to Micah 2:10. It says, arise ye and depart. Right, when you tell somebody to arise, they're lying down, relaxing, chilling. So the Lord said, arise ye and depart. Meaning, to put it in the best way that I can paint it, as the Apostle Paul put it, using this world but not abusing it. Because we have to get in, do what we have to do, but move out, because this is just a temporary thing, right? It says, for this is not your rest, and it's not our rest, because our rest is what? The kingdom of heaven, when we're actually, sitting on thrones, ruling with Yahushua. That'll be the time to really rest, and that when the kingdom is established, it's going to be done in righteousness. It's going to be a total different vibration. No other nation is going to rule with us. No other nation is going to ever take us down. No other nation is going to be scheming on us, looking for openings and weaknesses and infightings, chinks in the armor, or kinks in the armor, as they say. There's not going to be any of that. All right, but in this society, that's not the case. This society is totally polluted. And the Lord is saying, do what you got to do, get in where you fit in, so to speak. But always remember that we have to serve the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. And until the kingdom of heaven is established, we really can't rest. There's no rest here. Even when you're trying to, let your hair down and trying to relax, you still can't relax, because there's always some type of worry, something there to always remind you that you're in hell. And if it may not be present at that time, you're always thinking about, what Satan got next. What's the, things are kind of seem like it's kind of calm, so I know something's coming. So it's like there's never really any real rest here. You're always thinking about the next, event, or the next time Satan turns up. It says, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. It shall destroy you with a sword destruction. And that is exactly, what it is. It's polluted. You can see it's not only polluted, physically. The quality of the air, we're down here in Houston. We just came down from Dallas, to, fellowship with the brothers here in Houston for a couple of days. Then we're starting back to Dallas, and then maybe sometime this week coming up, we'll be going back to Indianapolis, because Elder Damashpat has some business he has to take care of back home. So the air quality everywhere you go is different, and everywhere you go the air is polluted, the food, the drink, even when you get alkaline water and all that, it's still polluted. Then the whole mindset and the whole concept of how this world is run, and the things that the way people think, the way people act and move, it's polluted on all levels. And when you're trying to live a righteous life to the best of your ability, them demons are constantly there bothering you and messing with you, whether they come into your mind, whether you go somewhere and people start acting stupid, and you just remember why you barely go anywhere, because these people they got Satan on them. And it's not the people that's doing that, it's just Satan making them do that, them demons making them do that to aggravate us, to make us uncomfortable, because they know that the kingdom of heaven is coming, and they want to do whatever they can to stall it as long as they can, and to perhaps destroy men that are pushing for the kingdom of heaven, and that's their whole job. So it's totally polluted. So I'm going to go here to the book of Hebrews. I'm going to see if I can find this precept. I think it's in the 4th chapter. Yeah, and been having some kind of respiratory issues, so it's just some shit going around. That's that's just hell, and that's another part of it, like the physical pollutions of this world, and after a while it just it just gets to you. But Let's see. You know what? I'll start at 1. The point is further down. It says 4 and 1. Hebrews 4 and 1. Let us therefore fear, lest a promise being left us of entering into his rest, any of you should seem to come short of it. Yeah, just like that's where the Apostle Paul would, as far as unbelief, he would always use examples of the wilderness and how Jake was being rebellious back then. It said, for unto us was the gospel preached as was unto them, but the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it, right? Because they didn't have the main ingredient of faith to pretty much keep the bond of the spirit, right? It says, for we which have believed do enter into rest. Why? Because Yahweh said, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free or set you free. And that's, the beginning stages of working our way to the kingdom, because that gives us the motivation, the inspiration to keep going forward, and if you don't believe, then that means that you're not going to be cemented by faith in the truth. And eventually you're going to get offended and you're going to fall out. And that's just the bottom line. It said, for we which have believed do enter into rest, as he said, as I have sworn in my wrath, if they shall enter into my rest, although the works were finished from the foundation of the world. Right. So it says, for he spake in a certain place of the 7th day on this wise, and the Most High did rest the 7th day from all his works. Right. We still got work to do. The harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. Pray ye the Lord of the harvest that he send forth laborers into his vineyard. And that's what we're, praying for. Because there's plenty of work to be done. There's plenty of teaching, plenty of, brothers, young brothers, that are just coming into the knowledge that need to be built up. And that's why a lot of times we'll go over the same things over and over and over and over again. Going back to the basics. Going back, to the breakdowns. Going back through, topics that we've gone over 1,000 times or more. Because the brothers that are waking up now that are learning to be teachers, they need that constant watering and constant feeding. All right. It says, and in this place again, if they shall enter into my rest. Seeing therefore it remaineth that some must enter therein. It says, and they to whom it was first preached enter not in because of unbelief. Yeah, that goes back to the wilderness. And also, you can apply it to now, because you have men in the past that have taught this word. One in particular taught me, and he's no longer around. He's somewhere else in another camp teaching. I don't know who knows what, but you have some of the top 7 that fell off, and they are not teaching the word anymore. They're out there, in limbo, teaching madness. Some of them are teaching that the nations can be saved. Some of them are, probably teaching. Well, some of them are teaching about hell. When you die and you go to hell, the first thing Satan do is turn you around and pop you in the ass. And that's how he's welcoming you into hell. So all kind of madness. You have others that are totally changed the names of the Lord. You have those that call him Jesus and Christ, which those are not the names. The name is Yahweh and Yahweh Shai, right? And then you have those that have gone off the deep end, calling them a pack of Mentos and, Barbazol, shaving cream, and those other crazy Latin names that came later on in history by some bugged out individuals. And this is why the Apostle Paul put curses on Hymenaeus, Philetus, and Alexander the coppersmith, because they were going around teaching, wayward doctrines and philosophies that were destroying the faith of those that the Apostle Paul had taught, and that actually believed at one point. But these guys were destroying their faith. They were making them weak. So that's why the Apostle Paul put curses on them and sick Satan on them. It says, again, he limiteth a certain day, saying in David, today after so long a time, as it is said, today if you will hear his voice, harden not your hearts. For if Jesus, which is Yahushua, which is Joshua, had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day? Yeah. And when you go to this word Jesus, the word that should be there is Joshua. And I'm pretty sure when you go to other translations, they'll probably have the name Joshua on there. That goes back to the Hebrew Yahushua, which is the origins of the name of our Messiah, Yahushua, which is the true and proper name of the Lord. And the name so-called Jesus, Yahushua, is not a title. It's an actual name. It's his proper name. You know, titles would be like anointed, you know, Messiah, you know, Christ, so you could understand, you know, and others, you know, but the actual names, proper names of the Lord is Yahushua. And this one, this here, there's others. I believe there's one in Acts, the 7th chapter, that speaks about Joshua. That's another one that goes back to the Hebrew Yahushua, which all of them do. Whenever you look at the name Jesus, it all goes back to Yahushua. But there's some variations in there. And then when you go through, you also have the actual name Yahushua. You have Yahushua, you have Yahshua, you have all kind of variations, but then they give it to you right, which is Yahushua. That's why the Apostle Paul said to continue on the things that you have learned, because you have need of teachers. Because when you don't know anything, you need a teacher there to guide you and let you know or teach you the right way. And then from that point on, once you know, get the full picture of the truth, that understanding is supposed to keep you through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua. You know? And that will help you, because if not, if you just happen to be an individual that comes off the street and you just, you know, watching this group and you watching that group, you watching anybody that has the name Hebrew Israelite or Israelite on their name, you know, you're watching every group. And then after a while, you'll be scratching your head, confused, because different groups teach different things, you know? And this is why you have to know, the Yahushua said it best, my sheep hear my voice and they follow me. So you have to know who you learned it from, like the Apostle Paul told Timothy, and know who thou has learned it from. And then when you learn it and you believe it, you have to hold on to it, because that is your ticket in getting out, you know, of this hellhole. Because this hellhole is going to burn. The only way of getting out of here is going straight up, you know, into the chariots. So it goes on to say, for if Yahushua or Joshua had given them rest, then would he not afterward have spoken of another day, right? Because another day means that there's going to come a rest that the people of the Most High have been waiting for, which are the Israelites, which the first ones to receive it are going to be, you know, the elect of the nation of Israel. There remaineth therefore a rest to the people of the Most High, right? And this is not that rest. This current world that we live in, and this current, you know, situation that we're in, this is not our rest. You know, this is a polluted place set up, you know, pretty much for judgment, and set up to actually, you know, show the world what it is that happens to individuals, you know, that are wicked. And it's going to be as a monument, a memorial, you know, as to wickedness. So this place is not, you know, meant for us to prosper. It's not meant for us to live it up. You know, this place is meant, you know, to destroy and to punish the people of the Most High. You know, and the ones that are part of the elect, you know, when they go through their chastisement, then eventually they'll become better. They'll learn the truth, and they'll be sealed to be delivered by this word. And that's why it's so important to keep it. That's why the Apostle Paul once again said, you know, that in the latter days, there, you know, some shall give heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils, because they're going to fall away from the truth, you know. So pretty much, that was like the thoughts that were going through my mind dealing with this, when I read through that, dealing with, give unto the Lord his just due. Because at the end of the day, the kingdom of heaven is not here yet, but the kingdom of heaven is on its way. Now, what I mean by the kingdom of heaven is not here, meaning the physical kingdom of heaven is not here. But the kingdom of heaven is here in the form of the elected nation of Israel, which is the temple of the Most High, and the words of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai that lead to the kingdom, because that is, that is the kingdom of heaven, the Israelites and the knowledge, especially the elected nation of Israel. Because remember, when Yahushai perceived that they were looking for the kingdom of heaven physically to appear, he said, the kingdom of heaven cometh not with observation, neither shall they say here nor there, but the kingdom of heaven is within you. Because those individuals he was talking to that were Israelites, they had the knowledge within them. But now if they continue in the knowledge, that's the clause. Because if they don't continue in the knowledge, guess what? They will not receive the reward. Rewards are given when the job is finished, not before. If you don't finish the job, you don't get the reward. And what is the reward? That penny. What is the penny? The penny is the kingdom of heaven. That's when we can really relax and chill. Because I'm going to just leave you with this one last precept in the book of Psalms, the 149th chapter, and the 5th verse. It says, let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Right. So when you're at rest, you're going to be happy. Like these devils, here it is. They got their kingdom. They got their salvation, but they're not happy. They're miserable because they are wicked. And the only time they get off is when they do wicked shit. When our kingdom is established, we're not going to be doing no wicked stuff. Wickedness will not exist among us, because we will be perfected. We will be changed. It will be impossible to go off and sin. So it says, let the high praises of the Most High be in their mouth, which is this word. It says, and a two-edged sword in their hand. What is a two-edged sword? A killing instrument. It says, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, because that's part of, the blessing that we're going to receive is to be able to put the nations in captivity. All right. It says to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, because the kings are the nobles of this society, which happen to be, shalom, bro, which happen to be, the international banking families of this earth, which goes into, the Edomites, first and foremost, which are the head, of this. And then you also have the Moabites, the Ammonites, and the Hamites, all of these different world leaders that are pretty much in bed with Esau. They're drinking that Babylonian libation. They're going to be judged also. And they're going to be the first crop of slaves, beginning with the international banking families of these different Edomite groups, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, DuPonts, the Gettys, the Carnegies, and the like. It says, to execute upon them the judgment written, this honor have all his saints, praise ye the Lord. Right. And when it says all the saints, it means just that, all of the saints, because even the ones that don't make it here are going to come back in the kingdom of heaven, and they will have servants, slaves, and all that. They're not going to be on the level of the ones that make it on the first round, the first dominion, but they will still nevertheless be Israelites. They will be rich. They will have lands. They will have slaves. They will have plenty of wives, women, children. They will be blessed, but they'll just have to carry, that shame around for a certain period of time, because they were set up and established in this society to do the wrong thing. That's what they were appointed to. But after a certain period of time, that shame, will dissipate, and they'll come back, to their right mind, and they'll be all right, because when they come back as the children of the elect, they're going to have spiritual powers. They're going to have the law, statutes, and commandments written within them, because we're not going to be teaching each other we're going to be teaching the other nations, you know. So this society here is polluted, you know. This is not, you know, where we rest at, where we establish and let our hair down, so to speak, because there's always something there to remind us, you know, always something there to remind me, you know, to quote, you know, one of those new wave songs from back in the days. I believe that was in the 80s. But with that, you know, I pray that you brothers and few sisters were edified. I know I kept saying, you know a lot, so, but pray that you were edified until the next time I say shalom.